What's up guys, Justin here of Tech, and let's talk about this Lenovo K12 Pro. This one is a competitive budget phone that comes with stock Android, a king-size display, triple rear cameras, and a whopping 6,000 mAh battery capacity. With an official PH price of 8,490 pesos, let's see if it can keep up with other bang-for-your-buck entry-level smartphones today. Alright, coming in with a massive 6.8-inch IPS Max Vision display, this guy is seriously a large and thick device. And I'm not kidding, using it one-handed can be quite tricky. But it's quite fine for us since we know that we're getting a big battery as well. We get a polycarbonate back that has a water-repellent design. It's not waterproof, but it can handle spills or some light rain. As you can see, it has a somehow wave-textured pattern that makes it less prone to fingerprint smudges. The unit we have is in the metallic sage colorway, but it's also available in electric violet. Despite the large form factor, its fingerprint scanner at the back is easy to reach. Meanwhile, other things at the back are its triple rear cameras and LED flash in a square setup. Then there's some Lenovo branding. On the upper left part of the display is its front camera in a hole punch notch. And on top of that is a proximity sensor together with the earpiece. On the right side, you can find the volume rocker and the power button, while on the left is a dedicated Google Assistant trigger that I often mistaken as a volume button. But I guess this button can be really useful in the long run. On the same side, you can also find a card tray for a single nano SIM and a micro SD card. Located on top is the secondary microphone and a headphone jack. Meanwhile, at the bottom are its loudspeaker, main microphone, and a USB Type-C port. Generally, we think its design looks modern and tough, although it is hefty to grip. Focusing on display, the K12 Pro has a vast 6.8-inch 2.5D curved IPS LCD screen with a 1640 by 720 pixels resolution and a pixel density of 289 pixels per inch. We get sizable bezels here and a slightly thicker chin. And honestly speaking, we are quite disappointed. We don't expect it to feature a high refresh rate, but a 1080p resolution at least to highlight that massive screen. But thankfully, when watching YouTube videos, you can max out the resolution to 1080p. Quality speaking, it's not the best, but you can expect accurate and vibrant colors as well as average brightness levels under direct sunlight. As for audio, tunes come out mainly from its down-firing loudspeaker, at the same time lowly from the earpiece. It produces decent sound that focuses more on the vocals. It's good enough for a small room, and I like that it doesn't sound distorted at max volume. Talk about software, the Lenovo K12 Pro runs on Android 10 out of the box, and yes, it is pure Android in here, so expect the UI to look clean, straightforward, and Google-centric of course. There's not much to go around when it comes to customization. Nonetheless, you can choose a style from the display settings that would change the interface color, font, and even icon shape. As for additional features, it comes with dark mode, split screen, digital well-being, and parental control to keep track of screen time and add content restrictions. You can also set other limits to help you balance screen time. Out of the 128GB of storage, we get a usable 110GB that can be further expanded via micro SD card. Under the hood, this phone is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 processor that's paired with an Adreno 610 GPU and 4GB of RAM. Navigating the UI and launching apps is pretty smooth, though you'll notice some slowness when many apps are running in the background. It's got deliverable performance for your day-to-day calls, social media scrolling, or video streaming. But this isn't for gaming. Playing graphically intensive games such as Asphalt 9 and Genshin Impact can be a laggy experience. If you want to see some numbers, we'll flash the benchmark scores now. You can unlock the device via face unlock and the rear-mounted fingerprint scanner. The fingerprint scanner responds quickly while the face unlock works well with some struggle under low-light scenarios. As for connectivity, the K12 Pro is equipped with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, NFC, GPS, 4G LTE, and even FM radio. Now, one of the highlight specs of this phone is its whopping 6,000 mAh battery with 20 watts fast charging and 2.5 watts reverse charging, which is nice to have. The K12 Pro doesn't have a high-consuming display, so if you're not a heavy user, it can last you a day or two. We ran it through the PC Mark's battery test, and the device yielded 18 hours and 9 minutes. Meanwhile, in our standard video loop test, wherein we loop a 1080p video at 50% brightness and volume, with airplane mode turned on and earphones plugged in, the K12 Pro got a complete 22 hours and 15 minutes, which is impressive. However, be ready to charge the phone for about 2 hours and 20 minutes from 0 to 100. Okay, let's finally talk about cameras. At the back, its triple camera setup is composed of a 64 megapixel wide, a 2 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. The fourth circle is dedicated for the LED flash. Meanwhile, on its notch resides a 16 megapixel front shooter. Quality-wise, shots taken with the rear camera often look well-detailed and perceive good colors under good lighting conditions. By default, it uses the 64 megapixel lens and saves the images in 16 megapixels. I like that its standard mode gives a subtle depth effect in most scenarios, although sometimes you might want to take more shots as they can be blurry. Using the 64 megapixel ultra resolution mode will give you an almost similar quality as in standard mode with sharper details, of course. You can zoom in up to 8 times and get decent quality that looks a bit washed at times. Weirdly, unlike most phones, we get the macro button next to the 1x toggle instead of the usual ultra-wide switch. We only get 1x up to 8x zoom plus the macro toggle. Anyways, for night photography, it's actually not that bad. Here's what it looks like without the night vision turned on. We still get some good amount of light but some dark and grainy areas as well. Now here's what it looks like with the night vision turned on. We can really see a significant boost with the brightness and sharpness in a not so harsh manner. Although take note that to achieve a good shot with the night vision, be sure to keep a steady hand for about 8 seconds. As for selfies, we get decent outputs with vibrant colors and good details. There's some slight skin smoothing going on even when you're not using beauty mode, but it's not that harsh. I do suggest taking more than one shot as some selfies can look a bit pale. When it comes to videos, you can shoot up to 1080p at 60 frames per second, and the quality is pretty good under well-lit scenarios. Although as expected, it doesn't have some stabilization. So now that we've talked about almost everything, let's finally check out its price. The Lenovo K12 Pro is now available for 8,490 pesos, which is reasonable enough for the specs it offers. It may not be the best in the budget segment today, but hey, you get an excellent battery life, a widescreen real estate, and not to mention it's pure Android. So if those are just some of the aspects that you are looking for in a phone, then the Lenovo K12 Pro is one good choice. And that's it for this review, guys. Share to us what you think about this Lenovo K12 Pro in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this is Justin, and don't forget to wash your hands and stay at home.